Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
Defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting live from the Kaida studio, so welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. So welcome, everybody. I hope you guys are doing good. I really do. It's been, I'm actually glad that temperatures now are finally starting to sink. With the heat wave that we've had recently, my air conditioner decided to quit on me. So needless to say, last weekend it was like an oven up in here. It was bad. It really was. It was holy crap. I wasn't a fan. I really wasn't. I wasn't happy. But now it seems like the temperature's starting to break, and even though my window unit, because I ain't got central air right now, and the window unit went out of me, I'm at least happy, very, very fortunate that that my air conditioner in my bedroom still works. So that's the coolest room in the house right now. But it's like 60-something degrees. I mean, it's not even, it shows like 61 degrees right now. So, I mean, it's not even like 70 yet. So I am happy with those temperatures. Yes, I am. So, yeah, starting talking about the weather. So, guys, let's see. I want to start off this one by telling you guys a story. And this was a story that I was talking about with a coworker of mine not that long ago. And this one is definitely there's something wrong with me. I was naive, a little ignorant, back in my youth. It took me some time before I came out of my shell. But I was somewhere in the 17 to 19-year-old range, right around in that time frame. And first off, let me premise this by saying that I was basically raised by the church. I started to go to church when I was like, 7, 8 years old. And, that's where I kind of grew up. That's where I've kind of, been in my earlier days. And so needless to say, I was sheltered from some things, sheltered, just didn't even think about it, and I was working at a grocery store. Right, stockman, and doing various gathering carts, the normal things that a stock person does at a grocery store. That's what I was doing, and I was working in the pharmacy aisle. Okay, working in the pharmacy aisles, and a young lady walks up to me. She was, I say young lady, she was a little bit older than I am, I think, at the time. All right. She walks up to me and she asks me if we have a particular product in the store. The product was the KY jellies. And I'm like, well, I have no idea. I've never heard of this item, but let's go find it. Let's see if we can't get this for you. So I went down to the condiment aisle. And I'm looking in where like the Smuckers are, and I'm like, I'm looking, I'm intent, I'm focused, I'm trying to help her out. She was cute. I wanted to help her out. I asked her, I'm like, is this a flavor or is this a brand name? I don't know. I'm looking at Smuckers. I'm looking at, their store version and everything else. I'm intent, man. I am intent. she was like, I have no idea. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. I can't help yet. I apologize, and just, done. Okay. And the only thing that would have made this better if I would have asked my manager if he knew if we had this item. And I tell you what, it was hilarious. But what makes it worse is I'm not completely sure. To this day, I have no idea if she was as ignorant as I was, or if she was shocked and terrified that I'm overlooking with the peanut butter and the jelly looking for this item. I have no idea. I don't know if she was in on it. I don't know if she was confused and as ignorant as I was. I have absolutely no idea. But I didn't even think back on this until like after I was even married. After I was even married. And then it was like I was thinking back and, hopped into a conversation with a buddy of mine. And next thing you know, I'm like, then the whole thing hit me, and I remembered that time at County Market at the grocery store I used to work at. It was hilarious. I tell you what, it was funny. To this day, I have no idea if she was as ignorant and clueless as I was. I hope so. I kind of do. But yeah, good time. I figured I'd give you that embarrassing moment. So there you have it. So earlier, actually yesterday, I had a phone call. I was talking with, I didn't have a phone call. I was talking with a buddy of mine. And he paid me an awesome compliment. I was definitely excited. It was very awesome to receive this compliment from him. And in this conversation, it was, now I don't have the okay to give you any information. So I'm going to be purposefully vague on this. But I tell you what, we were talking about the direction of his podcast. And I tell you what, I am excited for what he's got going on, for what he's looking at doing and how he is looking to, go about it. I am super excited. And it's also one of them things that definitely, and I'm sure he will, I haven't asked him, but I'm sure he will, that when he gets closer to kind of doing a relaunch of this new direction, that, he comes onto the show and, get a talk about it a little bit and kind of give us a rundown on what it is he's looking at doing. So I'm definitely excited for the direction of his show and the growth that he's been experiencing. I'm definitely excited about that. It's going to be awesome. It is definitely going to be awesome. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool whenever he gets around into getting that done. So yes, I am definitely super excited. So all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and, just kind of start jumping right into this. And today, I'm not so much going to do a content creator showcase, if you will, because the next direction that I'm really going to start getting into is talking about, like YouTube creators and different things like that. Then this kind of more so goes into, geekness and whatnot, because whenever I first started really getting into, at least for the Ho-Ho Show, looking at different content creators in YouTube, I had a specific thing in mind of what I was trying to do and, the type of stuff I was looking for. So it was all in the aspect of tech and gear and stuff of that nature. And so that's kind of where it was that whenever I was starting to really look into YouTube for a purpose, that's what I was doing. So I'm going to be sliding into that probably on the next episode. But briefly though, I was listening to, because I like, I'm a podcaster, I'm a content creator. I listen to other podcasts and content creators, and, just, it's one of them things that, I listen to it for multiple reasons. Part of it is for inspiration. Part of it is, just to get a deeper dive as to what's going on. Others is to see how they're doing what it is that they're doing. And I was listening to this guy, and this is Matt Locke of The Matt Locke Show. You guys can definitely check him out, and I definitely recommend listening to this episode. That is The Matlock Show. That is MATTLOCKE show. You guys can also head on over to his website, thematlockshow.com. That is MATTLOCKE show.com. Check him out, thematlockshow.com. And this episode was entitled The Numbers Don't Add Up, and this was July 28th's episode. And this can be found wherever podcasts can be found. I know he's on Spreaker. That is his hosting platform. He is also on Rumble. You know, he's kind of a little bit of all over the place, okay? But check out that episode. He had an interview that he did in the very first part of the episode where he was talking with a gentleman by the name of Seth Keshel, and I believe he was a former Army Ranger, maybe. Hold on a second. I don't want to give you bad information, so give me a moment to kind of look that up, get his name, and there we go. Let me go ahead and type that in. Yeah, that should be good enough. And there it is. All right, pulled that one up. So, yes, this is The Numbers Don't Add Up. So he is a former Army captain of military intelligence, and he was talking about, you know, the 2020 elections and just how the whole thing doesn't add up. You know, that, you know, because of the research that he has been doing spanning years, he's like, there is no way that, you know, Biden won, let alone won by the number amount that they are claiming for him. And to kind of because I'm not going to rehash this episode, you know, definitely listen to the interview. It is an amazing interview. The information that they talk about on this one definitely is worth listening to. So again, definitely check that out. The Matlock Show, The Numbers Don't Add Up, July 28th interview with Seth Keshel, and I know I'm mispronouncing his name. I know I am. But definitely check that out, talking about the numbers. And because here's what the bottom line is, and this is one of the things I talked about briefly in this, but with H.R. 4, and, you know, I mean, let's just put it this way, guys. The Democratic Party, the Democrats, all right, they are absolutely terrified right now. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. They are terrified, okay, because they know that with all the cheating that they did, they were still only to get a 50-50 split in the Senate. They were only able to get a 5-person lead in the House of Representatives. That's it. That's not a huge majority. Okay, they didn't get much. Excuse me, I had to take a quick drink right there. But they didn't get much. They really didn't. And they understand. I mean, just because everybody was questioning this up one side and down the other. Nobody believed, you know, what was going on. Nobody believed it whatsoever. Everybody was like, you know, this just doesn't make sense. Okay? Whenever you take into consideration, it's like, okay, with, you know, these the people, the polling places, they shut down counting, and then like 3 hours later or whatever, they opened counting back up again. And it's like, okay, if one person did it, well, okay. 2 people doing it, you got a coincidence. 3 people doing it, you got something fishy. 4 and 5 people doing it, you have a reason to investigate what the heck's going on. Same time, same channel, shutting down and opening back up. And whenever they shut down, it was like Trump's in the lead. When they opened back up 3 hours later, one of them due to a water main break, which was completely false. It was a lie, straight up, ain't no 2 ways about it. It was an absolute lie. This is the reasoning they gave for shutting it down, and it was a lie. It was absolutely no questions asked. It was a lie. 5 different states shutting, counting down, and then so many hours later, opening it back up. Trump was winning, and then all of a sudden, a huge surge of votes that came in the middle of the night with nobody counting, by the way, because they shut down counting. Nobody was counting anymore. No counting going on. No soup for you. And then all of a sudden, Biden's winning. So you have things like that was going on, which is definitely grounds to at least look into it to see if there's any shenanigans going on. They didn't want to do it. They flat refused. Flat refused. Not going into it. It's like, nope, we're not, we shouldn't have to give up these numbers. We shouldn't have to let you audit these machines. We shouldn't have to do that. This is a private company, yada, yada, blah, blah. They want us to use, never mind. But needless to say, a lot of shenanigans happen. And there are now like 49 out of 50 states that are doing, voter election integrity laws right now. They either have something on the books that they're about ready to vote for, something that they have already voted for, or that they are working on, even including California. They're doing voter integrity laws right now. And I don't understand. I got to be honest with you. In a small aspect of this, I don't quite get it. I just got to be honest with you. I don't get it. Okay? I mean, this is like you already have a law within the Constitution that says the state legislature is the only one that has the right with voter, everything, whatnot. They're the ones that make the law, not the judicial branch, not the executive branch. It's all about the legislative branch of each individual state, and that's it. And then they're going to make a law that says, pay attention to that law. That's in a sense what they're doing. That's like jaywalking, writing a law that says you can't walk, you can't cross the street outside of a crosswalk, and then another law that says you have to pay attention to the law we just wrote about this. It's like, why are you writing two laws? It seems asinine to me. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just throwing it out there. It seems ridiculous. Why do you have to have a law that says you got to pay attention to this law? It just makes no sense to me. But that's in a sense what they did. It's a law that was taking back the power that says, no, what you did doesn't mean jack. We're the ones who make the rules, and these are the rules that we want to implement. Okay? That's more or less what it amounted to. So you got 49 out of 50 states that are writing these laws and getting ready to implement them. And let's just put it this way. Washington, D.C., they're terrified. Democrats all across the country are terrified because they know that the only reason why they won 2020 is because they were legally, I don't want to say, okay, this sounds stupid to me even coming out of my own mouth, but they were legally able to cheat. They legalized cheating. And H.R. 1 was going to be bad enough because it was making it not necessarily legal for this person to vote, but it was making it illegal to question that person's vote. With same-day registration, with being able to vote, going from one precinct to another precinct and not even validating or verifying anything, no voter registration, no checking of IDs, no signature verification, all kinds of other things all across the board, all the things, the safeguards that they refused to put in there. And it was going to make it basically illegal for you to question that person's to vote. That's more or less what it did. So like I said, not necessarily making it, legal to commit fraud, but making it illegal to question potential fraud. That's what it was doing. Kind of a backdoor method of legalizing fraud. That's kind of like the federal government saying, we're not going to take away your guns. We're just going to limit and restrict the amount of ammunition you can have, making it to where it's like, it's like you're shooting blanks. What's the point of having a gun if all you're shooting is blanks? I don't know, but that's more or less what they were doing. A backdoor way of taking away and affecting the Second Amendment. That's what they were doing with this. In essence, that's what they were doing. And that's more or less where they were going with H.R. 1. Now this brings me to H.R. 4. And we're going to talk about that right at the other end of this short break. We will be right back. Just a couple minutes, guys. Don't go nowhere. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. Yes, Tussin. Tussin's good stuff. All right, so I left you guys on the other end of the break talking about H.R. 1 and more or less what they were working on doing with that. And H.R. 4 is even more worser. Did I just give you a twitch on that with that improper grammar? Did you guys like that? Then a much more worser. I can make it even more worser than that. Talking about H.R. 4. Now, if you guys thought, again, that H.R. 1 was bad, H.R. 4 is worse because one of the things that it does is it basically, it's working on nationalizing election laws, taking it completely out of the hands of the state. Now, that's exactly what H.R. 1 was doing. You know, don't get me wrong. That's what H.R. 1 was doing. But with H.R. 4, they're taking it a few steps beyond. Okay? Because they're looking at all these measures that the states are doing for voter integrity. They're looking at this as, well, this is unconstitutional. This is a violation of the Constitution because this is discrimination. Now here's the thing, okay? They cannot prove, because they have already tried, they cannot prove that this is discrimination because they can't say that this is a legislative targeted attack to restrict the voting rights of Group A versus Group B. White people versus black people or versus brown people or whatever. They can't say that. They can't prove that. They cannot prove this in the court of law. And if they really do want to go the distance with this, and it does end up going to court, they can't prove it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. They can't prove it. I mean, what? You're going to say that voter ID, which is free, and remember, there's 4 years. 4 years between presidential elections. Now, granted, there's the midterm elections every other year, but even still, you've got 4 years between presidential elections. That's enough time to get your happy butt to wherever they are selling voter ID cards, which is just a simple ID card, state identification card. That's all you need. And any state that has a mandatory voter ID card, the voter ID cards, the ID cards in general are free. So it's not even like you have to pay for it. You just have to go there, and there you go. And like I said, and I've talked about this in previous episodes. I really have. I've talked about it before. I don't know anybody that can say, honestly, that they have never done one of the myriad of things that you have to have a ID card for at least once in their adult life. Whether that be opening up a bank account, buying alcohol, buying cigarettes, going to a hotel room, any of the, getting a credit card, any of these myriad of things, going to the Democratic National Convention, you have to show ID for that. Any of the myriad of things that you have to show an ID card for, you have to verify that you is who you say you is. I've never known anybody of the age of majority, 18 years or older, that have never done at least one of those things, have some type of a verifiable, this is who I am, whether that be an identification card, whether that be a driver's license, whether that be a passport, or even in the grand state of Illinois. And this is something that actually cracks me up, because there was a time that I used my FOID card as my identification card. Now, the rule was for some time that you couldn't use your FOID card as an identification card. And I guess there was a period of time when the FOID card was just nothing more than basically a laminated piece of paper, and that was about the extent of it. But then they went to a different type of card altogether, and it was basically the same thing as your ID card or driver's license. In fact, they even used the same stinking picture. You go through the trouble of going to the Walgreens or wherever it is, and you get your picture taken. You smile real big. You go to the post office, send the stinking thing out. There you go. But for some reason, they don't even care about the picture that you send them. They use their own picture that they have on your driver's license. That's what they did to me. But I even asked this one time, because this was a time when, I'd gotten a ticket, so I didn't have my driver's license. Instead, I used my FOID card as a state-issued ID card. And I asked the lady, because I was like, oh, well, you can't use your FOID card. I'm like, well, why not? I was like, well, it has to be a state-issued ID card that's got your date of birth on it, your address, and your photo ID. It's like, this got to have that. I go, all that information's on here. My date of birth, my address, it's got my picker. In fact, it's the same picker as on my driver's license. So this is a state-issued identification card. Why can't you accept it? Well, I go, yeah, exactly. You have no reason not to. It's a hard copy. It's a identification card that is issued by the state with my picture, my date of birth, age verification, and everything on here. The only thing that's not on here is a driver's license number, but that's okay because it has an FOID number that can still be verified in the database. It's like there's no reason not to accept it. But anyway, backdoor method of getting around that. So with HR 1, they're looking to claim that these integrity laws are meant to keep specific races or genders from voting. And of which case, that's just not true. Because if it does, see its day in court, they can't verify, they cannot argue, they cannot claim with any empirical data that their argument holds water. They can't prove that whatsoever. But they're trying. They are definitely trying. But here's one of the other things that they are doing. They're going to be using, as per what H.R. 4 says, they're going to be using a bureaucracy, a panel of people that will basically take any law, any voter integrity laws that a state writes, and they're going to say that, oh, that is an illegal law, you can't do that. Using a bureaucratic panel of predetermined, pre-picked people in order to absolutely help carry the Democrat agenda, that's what they're going to be using. People that will stand there and make a ruling on a law that a state writes in order to keep their elections secure. Falsely claim that, oh no, you can't do this. It's going to be like the civil rights something or another, tying it to the 14th Amendment somehow. I don't even know. And again, it's not like any of this is legal. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, how can you honestly get away with this? This is where I'm confused. Because it's like the Constitution, guys, the Constitution is clear. The individual states have the say in how their elections are run. That's what the Constitution says. This isn't a federal thing. This is a state thing. The states have rights. And they're wanting to bypass that. They're wanting to bypass that because the fix is in, guys. Everybody knows they cheated. And if they are not able to push all this back, if they're not able to get H.R. 4 passed before the next elections here coming up in November of 2022, they know they're screwed. They know they don't have a leg to stand on. They know this. I mean, they're at least going to lose one house. And in all honesty, in a matter of speaking, I would be surprised if they don't lose both. Because remember, guys, it's a 50-50 split in the Senate. They only have a 5-seat majority in the House of Representatives. That's it. That's not a lot. And considering people have seen what's going on, I mean, guys, you can't run away from President Biden's presidency. Yeah, you can't run away from it. I mean, you can ignore what was going on in the Trump's presidency. All you had to do is stay off Facebook for a while. You had the left. Are you kidding me? Dude, I promise you guys, I silenced my phone. What in... Are you kidding me? Silence! I kill you. I did. I silenced the stinking thing. What in the world? Anyway, I hate it whenever something happens like that. My train of thought just completely goes, pew! It's just gone out the window. But anyway, guys, the fix is in. They know that if they don't do something, they are going to lose everything. They don't have a huge majority in the House. They have no majority in the Senate. And they know, because of everything that happened, because of how badly they didn't even do this thing in a way that it was plausible that there was no cheating going on. I mean, let's be honest about that. They went so far above and beyond by throwing ballots Biden's way without doing any down ballot voting whatsoever. I mean, come on. It's just, but anyway, guys, they understand that the fix is in. That if they don't get amnesty for all these illegal aliens, if they don't get that, if they can't redistribute the population using, this is flat Marxism 101. I mean, this really is one of the 10 pillars of communism of what they're trying to do right now. Distribute the population to whitewash, get rid of the Republican voice, the conservative voice, your voice and my voice, to get rid of it, to instill their own government, and ignoring the civilians, the people whom our vote actually matters and should matter. No. They're wanting to eliminate the power of our voice by distributing a population that does not belong here, trying to legalize the cheating. They know that if they don't do that, they're done. And they know that if the states are allowed to do what the states can constitutionally do, as in implement by law these voter integrity laws, that 49 out of 50 states have either already done or are in the process of doing right now, they're screwed. They're screwed. Yes, we are the silent majority, and yes, you guys know my feelings on being a member of the silent majority. They've even said that, as a Republican, we represent about 60%. About 60%. But it's not being able to trust the election that has really put a damper on things. And I mean, guys, this is the thing. If you can't trust the integrity of the election, one, what's the likelihood that you're even going to vote in the first place? Do you really feel that this is a government that really has your best interests in mind? I don't know. I cannot answer that for you. But with what they're looking to do with H.R. 1, with H.R. 4, with, these various laws that they are trying to pass, make no mistake about it, guys, they are trying to take away the voice of the people and replace it with their own voice. And do you really think that these guys have your best interests in mind? Come on. They want to take your money, our hard-earned money, and just give it away to different countries for gender studies in Pakistan. These are the things they do. Do they really get held accountable? Do they really have our best interests in mind? Why don't we hold them accountable for the BS that they're doing? Holy crap, guys. I can talk about the budget aspect of it. Holy cow. It really is ridiculous, guys. It really is. It is ridiculous. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to take another quick break. When I return, we are going to talk a little bit about, holy crap, where did that one go? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the COVIDs and this Delta variant. We are also going to talk a little bit about the Olympics, some of the stuff that what's going on there, just talking numbers on that one. I don't really care about some of these people, what they're doing. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit of the numbers, a little bit about the ratings, and we're going to get into that here in just a minute. So guys, don't go nowhere. Have you ever sat down on your throne just to find out that you are dangerously low on shift tickets, making it to where you have to make a mad dash to the store just to pick yourself up some? If this has ever happened to you, pick up the #1 most rated toilet paper found in Uranus and use what the professionals use. Angel Soft. See, I'm just not a fan of some toilet paper. Some of them it's like putting a pillow between your nice rosy. Others, like John Wayne toilet paper, it's like using sandpaper. But do what the professionals use. Use the type of toilet paper that is the Goldilocks of brands, Angel Soft. Available wherever toilet paper is sold. All right, and we are back. Whew. All right, guys. Well, Delta variant, let's talk about that a little bit. Now, I'm sure you guys are tired of all this crap. I know I am, but I tell you what, guys, they're, with the numbers that I have been hearing from various places, various sources, I tell you what, I am just, my main question, I guess, for you guys is, and I have my own thoughts and my own opinions on this, but how successful do you think? Because they really do want to go for another lockdown. The last one was over a year. It was supposed to be 14 days of flatten the curve. That's what they were going for. That's what they told you that they wanted to do. Next thing you know, you've got to have the vote by mail and everything else. We can't do in-person that, in-person that, in-person anything. It's got to be all done remotely. You have people that, you have our children not going to school, but yet you're still expected to pay your property taxes like nothing's going on, even though the teachers ain't in the classroom earning the paycheck that you're forced by law to give them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anywhere else, anything else, any other industry, they can't force you to pay for a service you're not receiving unless you're talking about unions. But that's beside the point. They can't force you to do that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you have this Delta variant that they keep talking about. But it's like the numbers, again, what? Holy crap.
This is invasion, sir.
I see that. What is up? What are you doing?
Just go with it.
Oh, boy. Well, hey. Why are you poking me there?
Hey, this.
Yep.
That's what I was talking about. And by the way, I don't exist. I'm not here, people. So hi, how you doing?
Oh, okay. So apparently Brandon does not exist. What is this?
That is a capacitor for your AC.
Really? Is that going to make my AC work?
It might.
Is he here?
No, but we'll be finding out tomorrow. You and me will.
Well, shit, yeah.
That's a universal capacitor.
It smells like it.
By the way, you're welcome. It came out of my...
Now your air conditioner doesn't work? Sit your butt down.
I got cold food in the car. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. It can still be cold.
Frozen food's in the car.
Well,
What?
so my air conditioner died not that, last weekend? I think it was last weekend.
Yeah.
So it was hot last weekend. It didn't get underneath like 86 in here at all.
Nope, we were rocking all the fans that we could. We had fans hooked up. Basically, they weren't even touching us. They were hitting the computers.
There we go. So, it wasn't even hitting at all. So, universal thingy jigger.
Yep, it's a universal capacitor. It should work with any air conditioner because that wire that's on the top is a jumper, so you can jump it back and forth.
Oh, okay.
To whatever you need it to be.
So does this capacitor fluctuate?
Maybe. But it happened to we think that's what it is. But anyway, yeah, it was hot as hell in here.
Yes, very.
And it was worse than a midget in the Sahara Desert, just taint in the Sahara Desert. It's pretty hot.
It's definitely hot. Thanks for the imagery on that. I like that. Yes. I appreciate that. It's
you got to make sure you get the full. I could do the full visual, but we're on YouTube.
That's fine. We're all right. Yeah. Boy,
All right,
ain't
well, you got me
guys.
for about a maximum of 10 minutes, so.
All right, so yeah, we're talking about HR4. All right, that's kind of what we're talking about because with what they're looking at doing, the difference between what's the matter?
They were backwards.
Oh, I hate it whenever that happens. But we were talking about how HR1 went a different route by making it illegal to question somebody else's ability to vote.
Correct.
HR4 is kind of going a different way and basically taking the rights away from the state to do any type of voter integrity law. So is there anything else that you've really heard about HR4? Anything else you know?
No, I read into it a little bit. That's kind of my thing. Any chance I get, I will. I'll open up a bill and look at it, and unfortunately, read quite a few pages. And I mean, it is in no way is it going to help anything at all. It is definitely not going to help the states. It's going to screw them wholeheartedly. And let me remind you, the same people that want to do this HR4 are the same ones that want to get rid of the Electoral College. Because they know if they get rid of the Electoral College, everybody else becomes serfs. We become servants to the government again in the rural areas, and it takes away your vote. Most people that have this argument, they're like, well, I've heard this over and over again. Well, the Electoral College is a sham. I was like, how's it a sham?
Yeah.
It takes away it takes away people's rights to vote. I was like, no, actually, what it does is it gives everybody the right to vote and makes sure that their vote counts, and it gives them a level playing field.
Yeah, well, I explain it to somebody like this because this, at least for me, is a simple way I can word it. The United States of America is not a country of people. It's a country of states.
Midget countries.
Yes, because Illinois is a country, California is a country, Rhode Island is a country. And if you are a federation, like the Federation of Planets in Star Trek, if you are that, why would Rhode Island agree to be part of this big conglomerate if they have, in essence, zero voice in
No
how
say,
they
yeah.
are governed?
No say. None.
Because without the Electoral College, that's what you have. So on a federal level, that's why they have the Electoral College, to give an equal playing field on the federal level when it comes to deciding who the president is going to be.
Right. And the other thing is, when people show the voting maps, they're like, look, the blue, look at the red. And they're like, well, take away the places where nobody lives. And then it's supposed to be all white. I'd hate to tell them this. People still live there. That's called rural America. People still actually live there. So you're taking away
Absolutely.
their right to vote. But not their right. You're not taking away necessarily their right to vote. They can vote, but they're just voting for no fucking reason.
Right.
Sorry for saying it like that. Not my show.
And that takes away the very premise of,
I
it's
have
like,
a foul mouth.
right, it happens. But do we have anything in common with even Chicago?
No.
Except for living in the same state? Absolutely not. What does South Dakota or North Dakota have anything to do with how New York is governed? Nothing.
Or Wyoming.
Exactly.
Wyoming is one of the most sparsely, populated states that we have.
They have more cows in population than what they have people.
But they still have people.
Yes, they do, and that's an actual true statistic too. They
Yeah,
have
no,
a bigger
I know.
it's like I heard that, and I'm like, that's just rhetoric. There's no way that's true. And
No, I got a friend of mine who lives there. He says
That's
literally,
absolutely true.
He's like, dude, if you want to go to a state where you can get away with literally everything, Wyoming. He's like, because nobody gives a crap because there's nobody else there.
right,
And he's a former race car driver, but he's a mud truck guy and stuff like that.
yeah,
And he happened to buy some property in Wyoming. He's like, dude, he goes, I take the mud truck to the gas station.
nice.
And for you guys don't know what, and I'm not talking like your average everyday, put 36-inch tires on your truck and call it a mud truck. I'm talking a full-fledged giant
Miniature Bigfoot.
supercharged 1,500 horsepower vehicle
Oh, dude, I've
with
seen
open headers, and he's just like, I'm gonna go to the gas station.
I've seen some of these mud trucks, and it's like, holy crap! I mean, we've got some decent ones around here. We got some pretty good ones around here, but I've seen some that are like, I mean, you're talking virtual tanks.
Yeah,
You're talking basically a monster truck that they're calling a mud truck, and it's like,
yeah, all they're doing is throwing paddle tires on it, and calling it a day.
right, yeah,
But that's what the Anderson family does. Mm-hmm. You know, Dennis Anderson and all them. Those are monster trucks. All they did was just throw some paddle tires on it and take it out in the mud. They're still running 1,800 horsepower, you know, supercharged alcohol-fed engines. You know, and they're still mid-engine trucks and everything, rear-engine trucks, but I mean, I was like, dude, I gotta get a video because it's already on YouTube. He told me he's on YouTube somewhere. I haven't found it yet, but apparently he just literally just fires this nasty thing up, drives 1.5 miles on a highway, goes to the gas station, gets himself a drink. He's like, and people just wave at him. He goes, of course there's no plates on it.
right. That would be so much fun. That really would be. We would get in so much trouble with something like that.
Yeah, but you know, mine's not even close to being finished. I was hoping it was going to be finished for this year, but
Yeah, I know your goal at one point in time was to have it done this year, but
yeah, foreseeable future, I'm not going to be able to touch it.
yeah, that's disappointing.
Very, very, because I mean, the engine's it's already got braking oil in it. It's ready to be broke in, but there's no the 1-ton axles aren't underneath of it. The rims aren't done. The suspension's not done. The lines aren't finished. You know, there's still the shifter and the steering is not where it needs to be. It's still it's a work in progress.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a badass work in progress. I'm actually kind of proud of this
Oh,
truck.
I like the truck. I can't wait to see what it does.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. All right.
But
So,
I was gonna say anyhow, back to the whole voter thing.
but yeah, with HR4, so you know that's more or less what it amounts to. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, and I don't understand how they can even possibly get away with this constitutionally, because you know it's clear that it's the states that determine, because you know election is not a federal thing. Yes, you may be electing a federal representative, but it is a state-run, state-controlled. That's all there is to it.
This is coming from the same government that has now issued an arrest order for people who walk into any building that they may happen to be in without a mask on.
Right. Oh, did you hear about this one? That there is a lawsuit between representatives against Nancy Pelosi, because she not only is fining people that are not wearing a mask, but they are having that fine directly taken out of their pay.
Yeah.
Which is,
She's the one I'm talking about.
yeah, which is illegal as shit, because you can't take anything out of anybody's pay unless you have written authorization from that person okaying the deduction.
Yep. And that actually includes,
Period.
and believe it or not, that actually includes guaranteeing of wages,
Yep.
because you're still not authorizing somebody to steal your shit. Mm-hmm. Just remember that, people.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they garnish your wages, they are supposed to have basically you're okay, your say to do it. They can't just arbitrarily take it out.
But yeah, she's the one I'm talking about, though. She said she gave the Capitol Police the right to, or the ability to arrest people, including members of Congress or visitors, for not wearing a mask.
And that's shaky as it is right there, because if they are in, you know, if they're
giving them a chance to
detain them to keep them from a vote.
Yeah, for something that isn't a law.
Yeah, that too. Oh, I was actually, wanting.
Gestapo.
Yep, I was I kind of wanted to be confronted there for a while about this, because it's like, okay, what are you? You know, what is your title? I'm a cop. I was like, so you're a law enforcement officer? Yes. So what law are you enforcing? You're not a mandate enforcement officer. You are a law enforcement officer. So if you're going to write me a ticket, if you're going to give me a fine, if you are going to detain me, then I want to know right here, right now, what law am I violating? And if they can't give you that information, then they have no legal right to detain you. They can't give you a ticket for a violation of a law when you violated no law.
When the law doesn't exist.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing. Like, I was even talking with the guy, you know, I'm a little bit of an asshole. I acknowledge that one. But I was at a customer, and he had asked me if I had a mask, and I'm like, well, I mean, you know, it's like I do have one. It's in my truck. You know, I can put it on if you absolutely need me to put it on. He's like, well, yeah, it is a law in this state. And I'm like, really? It's a law? You mean to tell me Congress actually, you know, wrote a law on this and it was passed by the governor? I was like, it's actually a law? He's like, well, I don't know if they did that. I'm like, yeah, and that's technically not a law. It's a mandate. It's like, I wasn't arguing with the guy. I was surprised as shit that he was trying to tell me that it was a law. It's like, no, it's not. It's not a law. It's a mandate. A mandate is not a law.
Yeah, I already told my listeners about that, about my experience down in St. Louis County with the restaurant.
Yeah, I missed that.
Well, okay. I'll rehash this for you. Actually, a couple of times there was something to do with a mask, but the one that agitated me the most was actually the restaurant, because it was my wife's birthday. We went down there, and lo and behold, we found her favorite restaurant. It actually there happens to be one in that area. There's not one just here; it's in that area as well.
What's the restaurant?
Cooper's Hawk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Cooper's Hawk Winery. She's like, oh boy. You know, so we go there, and we walk in, no mask. Nobody has mask. Okay, we eat, no mask, obviously, and nobody else had a mask. Okay, and we spent $85 eating. That's no shit. That's that's what the bill was like. It's the big one.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
But you know, she's like, you know, we should get a bottle of wine to take with us, you know, because we were just going to go back to the hotel and swim in the pool or whatever else like that, and just sit there and enjoy the night, you know. We're like, yeah, let's do that. So we go up there, and mind you, the room is full of people. There's at least 15 to 20 people, including workers and stuff like that. And the nutsack behind the counter comes sashaying himself over. And I was like, I'd like to have a menu for for your wines real quick. We're gonna pick up a bottle and take off. And there's people literally elbow to elbow with me, no mask, nothing like that. And he's got his, but it's underneath of his chin. It's not over his mask, you know, his mouth or anything else. Like, it's not over that gullet, you know. And he's looking at me. He's like, well, yeah, I do. He goes, here. He goes, do you have a mask? I was like, I thought he was kidding. I look at him like, huh. And he didn't say nothing. I'm like, what, you're serious? He goes, yeah, St. Louis County just enacted the mask back again. You're going to need a mask. I'm like, no, I don't. And I looked back and forth. And I was like, you're kidding me right now. I was like, you're not even wearing yours. It's underneath your chin. And he's like, well, he goes, yeah. He's like, yeah, you got to have a mask if you're going to buy a bottle of wine. He's like, okay, here's your menu, and you go fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, but he started to mouth off. And at this point, I'm already agitated.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And of course, my hand is on the counter. So he's like, when I went to slide the menu back to him, I was like, all right, don't need it then. I went to slide the menu back to him. He goes, oh, it's like that, huh? And I'm like, yeah. And it's about to get a lot worse. And I was like, this. Dude, I'm going to strangle this dude.
The only time that I was really forced to wear a mask during this whole entire thing, I mean, I had a couple times, well, once at a customer, you know, because mind you, we are outside. I am on the back of a trailer, literally social distance from everybody. I am a minimum of like 10 feet, if not 20, away from anybody that I'm actually working with.
Right.
You know, I am social distance. I am outside. I am not inside. So according to CDC guidelines, I don't have to mask and wear anything. It's like, if you have a problem with it and get the flock away from me, my crane will reach you. I don't need to touch you. No, go anywhere near you, nothing. And the only time, you know, kind of get mean mugged here and there, you know, going inside to truck stops and whatnot. But the only time that it was really an issue was whenever, you know, like ordering food, you know, at the places, if they're open, because a lot of them were shutting down and whatnot. But I went into a Subway, and this was, you know, towards the tail end of the whole thing. I mean, this was, you know, everything was on its way. You know, everybody was starting to kind of release their released their guidelines and whatnot a little bit more. And I walked into a Subway, and there was one gentleman behind the counter. That was it. And he was putting loaves of bread in the thingy jigger, and he had it hanging off of only one ear, not on his face, nothing. Of course, I wasn't wearing one because for the most part in the stores, they didn't care.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you'd get the, hey, can you put a mask on? I'm like, you guys are smoking crack, put it on, whatever. It's like, I'm only putting one on if you give it to me because I ain't wasting my money on it. It's a piece of shit, doesn't work, doesn't do its job. I'm not wearing it.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because I could be here for 45 minutes telling you about virology. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, here, lesson number 1 on nanoparticles and cloth masks.
Well, remember, I'm not an idiot. I just play one on the radio. I'm actually extremely well educated.
And you're going to tell me that's going to save me from the COVIDs. Okay, but anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
So he's putting, he quickly puts his mask on, and he goes, do you have a mask? I'm like, what, really? What, you're going to ask me that and just ignore the fact that you were handling food that is going to go to the customer without wearing a mask and basically demand that I wear mine when the only reason why you put yours on is because I walked in. It's like, we're going to ignore that? Okay. I mean, that's the only time I really got pissed about that thing. It's like, okay.
See, I've had a handful of interactions. Another one was actually down in St. Louis. It was at the zoo. Mm-hmm. Wife goes to go to the bathroom.
You guys outside?
Yeah. Wife goes to go to the bathroom. There's nobody around us. And, they had a mask thing for St. Louis County. Said if you go indoors, you got to have it. And, well, damn it, I wanted to see my puffins. I like penguins. Leave me alone.
Oh, okay.
So so I was like, okay, fine. I'll capitulate, and put one on just so I can go mess with the penguins. But we're at the bathroom. There's nobody else there. You waddle like a penguin. What are you laughing at?
I do. I'll tell you something after your story.
But
anyway.
I'm standing out there alone, and I'm finally checking my phone for, it's been like 2 days, so I'm like checking my phone to see if anybody needed anything while my wife was doing her business.
Doing her paperwork?
Yeah. And yeah, she must have had a lot of it too, because it took a while. But I'm standing out there, and and this guy is looking at me, and I'm like looking at him like, hi?
Can I help you? Do you want me to hump your leg or something? What's going on here?
And he starts to walk by, and he is literally the only lone moron wearing a mask. So he's walking by me. He goes, you should, because he saw me push mine into my pocket because it was not far from the penguins where we went, and he's like, you should you should probably wear that. And I was like, wear what?
I should probably wear underwear too, but
no, I was like, wear what? He goes, your mask. You should really wear a mask. I was like, yep. And you, do you? And I asked him, kind of in a polite way. I was like, "Do you think it saves lives?" He goes, "Yes." It's like, you know what else saves lives? It's like, minding your own business. And he just looked at me. He's like, "So you're one of those ones that doesn't care about the people." I'm like, "No, just not the one that's standing in front of me right now." Like I'm half tempted to throw you over the cheetah cage. And he just looked at me.
There are definite times when it's like, I really wish I can just sneeze on command. Just
Hey, the best one that ever happened to me though. We talked about that. We actually talked about this before. Was at the local Walmart when this all first started. I was unable to wear a mask even if I had wanted to because I had a severe infection in an eye that I was desperately trying to save.
Yes.
So I couldn't do that. And I'm standing in line to get my meds for that eye. And there's this lady, and she's just staring at me, and she's walking her cart around me. She's like literally did a circle around me. I finally was like, ma'am, can I help you with something? She goes, yeah, where's your mask? And I looked at her, and I was being nice. I said, ma'am, I can't wear one. They told me not to actually wear one because they're worried about the bacteria from my mouth actually getting into my eye, and we're trying to save my eye. I'm blind in it right now. I was like, but we're trying to save my, my eye. And I was, like I said, I was nice about it. And I turned my head and I look over. She's still looking at me. And at this point, there's actually 2 Walmart workers behind me. And then poor people, after what I said, that was like the greatest look on anybody's face ever. But she's still looking at me. I was like, is there something else? And she's like, no, I don't think you understood me. You need to put on your mask. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I was like, oh, I do have one with me. She's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you want to help me get it? And she just looked at me real funny, and I bent over and grabbed my ass cheeks. I bent over and grabbed my ass cheeks and did the goat. And I was like, can you reach in there and grab it for me? It's in my ass. And the Walmart worker trying to keep his composure. He's walking by and all you heard him in the aisle over in the Band-Aid aisle. Just like right over, and you heard. And I looked at her and said the same thing I said to the other guy. So, minding your own business is pretty good for your health too. Don't I already told you a reason why I'm not wearing one. It's not going to change. Leave me alone.
Right.
And then she had the nerve to call me rude.
And she's getting all up in your business. It's like, if you didn't want to stand, if you didn't demand on standing so close to me, then we can do the whole social distancing thing. It's like, get the hell away from me.
Well, she got all up in my business to ask me about my business, and I told her to get all up in my business, and she didn't like that. So I guess we can look at that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if I didn't want to go to jail for, indecent exposure, I probably would have just done full moon.
Drop trow.
Yep. I'd expose the starfish.
Any hot dog flavored water? No. No,
I could have tucked it back and did the real goat.
That was a good movie. That was...
Don't fuck with the people that make your food.
Exactly. I mean, that is an awesome... We're talking about Waiting, by the way. A very good movie.
After watching that movie, I will never send an order back.
Oh, hell no.
It could be horribly wrong. I'm like, it's going to come back with nuts on it.
Right. It's going to have special,
special sauce, yeah.
Yeah, it's they did, oh, man.
But anyhow, I should probably get going. I mean, I got frozen foods chilling in the car. It's no longer chilling.
Well, it's not chilling anymore if it's in the car.
It's probably at lukewarm status at this point.
It's not that bad, though. I mean, it's in the 60s, low 60s outside.
Yeah,
so.
You got lucky because I was like, it's going to be bad for the rest of the week. I'm going to come in there and it's going to be like, Frosty the Snowman. There's going to be a puddle.
Right.
Where Jared used to be.
Right. And with the temperatures, because I just came back from North Dakota, and with the temperatures we had up there, that overnight, Thursday night going into Friday morning, I was really hopeful on what the weather was going to be like over the weekend because, I mean, it dropped down into, I mean, it not quite as cool as what it is now, but I mean, it was like mid 60s, is what it went down into now. So, I mean, I
take it back. It wouldn't be like Frosty the Snowman. Everybody's seen the Austin Powers movies, right?
Fat bastard.
It'd be like a fat bastard when he lost all of his weight.
It's like, I'm all wrinkly. I've got nothing on my throat.
My neck looks like a vagina.
Yes.
You could go from this to...
That was an awesome movie. It's the COVIDs. It's the COVIDs. I got a mask in here. No, I don't have a mask in here somewhere, do I? Oh yeah, it's out there on the chair.
No, there's one on my foot.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Yeah, but I forgot. Oh, wait, I just forgot.
What?
I don't care.
Oh damn. Well, that's it. You're just trying to kill everybody. I gotta get off this.
You just go. Holy crap! Look at that.
Gotta go.
Getting all kinds of people showing up all up in here.
2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Isn't that a
You call me just as a stunt beyond Thunderdome. Yeah. 2 men enter, 1
Oh
man
wait,
leave.
crap. That wasn't not on purpose. Let me turn that off. Okay, there we go.
Bail, so you walk in right as I was coming.
Only people that hit puberty can understand that.
I'm working on going through puberty, dadgummit. I'm hoping that by the time I hit 40, that maybe it'll be something I could just slide right on into.
40. You're older than I am, and I am 40.
Yeah, 50.
I mean 50. Yeah, 50. Because I'm 40, so I'm hoping by the time I'm 50,
try.
I tried. I still got that one testicular that just doesn't want to be affected by gravity. I got that one, and I think it was damaged in a motorcycle accident.
So you're hoping when you turn 50, it just drops and goes, hi, hello.
Well, no, I'm hoping that he goes, hi, hello, hi, little buddy. That's what I'm hoping for. Somebody asked me, it's like, dude, you can't even see it. And I'm like, I can too. I get a rear view mirror just for such an occasion. They're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, I got one.
Did you see what I just did?
Ping.
Yeah, you gotta go.
I love that story, by the way. We will not get into that one. All right, guys. That is all I have got for you today. That is it. Let me know in the comments what you guys feel about the HR4 and about, the stuff that is going on. Next week, I will see you then. Y'all just have yourself a great one. Good night. Sleep tight. And if the bed bugs bite, well, then by golly, bite 'em back. This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.